Good morning. Hello. Today is Thursday morning. Thank you for joining me here at Story Time with Jonny Rodriguez. Again, I'm reading this to all people of all ages. I have to reiterate this every time to make sure that I'm reading to people of all ages, whether you're a month old, years old, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 101 years old. I'm reading this to you because unfortunately there's a lot of people out there in the world that have not had the opportunity to be read to or given the lessons on how to read. And the best way to start is by picking up a book and listening to someone read to you. And then that way you can pick it up and you can start reading with phonics, reading with sounds of the words and not so much by sight. Okay, here we go. Curious George, A Treasury of Curious George by Margaret and H.A. Ray. Today's story starts off with Curious George and the Dump Truck. All right. Oh, let me show that to you guys. Curious George and the Dump Truck. Okay? Got it. This is George. He lives with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey and I was very curious. That's why he got the name Curious George. This morning, George was playing with his toys when he heard a funny noise outside his window. See that? He's playing with this ball and little small blocks. And there's the window, and he's like, wonder what that sound is. Remember, he's curious. So let's find out what that sound's all about. It sounded like a quack. George was curious. What would he be quacking underneath this window? It was a duck, of course. Then George heard another quack, and another. Must be mama and baby ducks, yep. Why? It was not just one duck, it was a mother duck and 5 small ducklings. Ducklings were something new to George. How funny they were. He watched the ducklings waddle after their mother. Waddle, 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 waddle. Where were they going? George was not curious for long. Soon he was waddling after Mother Duck too. Waddle, 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 waddle. Now he could see where they were going. Yes. Waddle, waddle. They waddle, waddle, waddle. That's how they walk. Like that. And then they were crossing the road. The little boy on a bicycle stopped to let him cross. And you see George at the back of the line waddling to see where they're going. The ducks waddled all the way down to the park. George loved the park. Today he saw children flying kites and gardeners planting trees by the pond. Then George saw something he had never seen in the park before. Wonder what that is. Let's see, there's trucks. Dump trucks. Okay. They look around, you see ducks, and you see a little boy and girl flying kites. See that? What a wonderful scenery. So, having the opportunity to go to a park, is fun. And take some bread with you so you can feed the ducks. It was a dump truck, and it was big. In fact, George was not even as tall as one of the wheels. George forgot all about the ducklings and stopped to look. What a big truck, he thought. It would be fun to sit in such a big truck, thought George. No one was inside the truck, and the window was wide open. Curious George could not resist. There he is right there. Look how big the dump truck is in comparison to George. And now he's wondering and he's climbing onto the truck. Up, he's thinking about it, thinking and starting to climb up. But sitting in a big truck was not so fun for a little monkey after all. George could not even see out the window. He was too small. If only there were something to climb on. Would this make a good step for a monkey? Uh-oh, the gear shifts. The gears. It did. Now George could see out the window. He saw the grass, he saw trees, and a family eating a picnic. Suddenly George heard a low rumbling sound. Was it his stomach rumbling, he wondered? It had been a long time since breakfast, but the rumbling was not coming from George's stomach. See that? He's climbing up and see the scenery. You see the grass and the family having their picnic. Yeah, okay. And the rumbling sound. It was coming from the back of the truck. George was curious. He climbed out the window. Then, like a monkey can, he swung up to the top of the truck. Now he could take a look. He saw the truck was filled with dirt. George was excited. What would be better than a truck full of dirt? George jumped right into the middle of it, sitting on top of the dirt. George felt the truck begin to tilt. Look at that. Here's George jumping into the back of the truck, onto the grass. Excuse me, I got to massage my neck. Okay. Then he jumps on and he feels the truck tilting. Okay. It tilted higher and higher. The dirt began to slide. It was sliding right into the pond, and George slid with it. George was having fun. But the pile in the pond got bigger and bigger and bigger, and soon the fun was gone. Too much dirt in the pond. That's not good at all. It wasn't meant to go in the pond. It probably meant to go on the grass to smooth it over and let some nice green grass grow. But here's George. Now it's like, uh-oh, too much. Too much, indeed. Just then the gardeners came back from their lunch and stood with their mouths wide open. They saw the empty truck on the pile and the pile of dirt in the pond, and a very muddy monkey. They knew just what had happened. But before they could say a word, George heard a familiar sound. Okay, the gardeners came back from eating their lunch. One was still finishing his apple, but the mouth dropped open, jaw dropped open. Okay, because they were in total surprise, seeing all that dirt in the pond. But after seeing George, they realized what had happened. He heard more crackling. The gardeners heard it too. Then they heard people laughing. Look, said a girl, the ducks have their own island. Indeed they did. The pile of dirt made an island in the pond, and Mother Duck and all her ducklings were waddling right on top. Far here, as far side over here, you see a little boy and his daddy fishing, and the little girl over here pointing at the ducklings, having their own little island. Quite a scene indeed, huh? Quite a scene indeed. George was sorry he had made such a mess, but the gardeners didn't seem to mind. We were planting more trees and flowers to make the park nicer for people, said one of the gardeners. But you made the park nicer for the ducks too. Later, a small crowd gathered at the pond. Would you like to help me feed the ducks? A girl asked George. George was delighted. Soon everyone was enjoying the park more than ever before, including the ducks, who were happiest of all in their new home. There they are. See that? They're all happy. They made a little island, and they took some of the dirt out of the pond and just left enough for them to be a little island for the ducks and ducklings. What a great story. The end. And here comes Curious George with the man in the yellow hat. And I'm sure Curious George is going to point out all that he had seen, all that he had done, and especially the little island for the ducks and ducklings. Okay, that brings us to an end today. May you have a great Thursday morning. Blessings and peace and kindness to you all. And remember, share with your friends and family about story time with Jonny Rodriguez, and bring friends of all ages. Bring your brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, moms, dads, uncles, aunts, and grandma and grandpas. Bring them all. I love to read to people of all ages. So, story time with Jonny Rodriguez is meant for every member of the family. Thank you for joining me today. Again, have a great Thursday, and we'll see you tomorrow, being Friday. Okay, careful with the weather out there. It's supposed to be hot, 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 as it's been the whole week. Okay, again, story time with Jonny Rodriguez, reading Curious George.